Suklam Vishnu Sarivaranam Jadurpujam Prasannavanam Dhyaye Sarvavignopajanaye Mamopatra Samasta Durgakshettvara Sri Parameshwara Parameshwari Priyatram Adau Vigneshwara Pujanam Karishye Tadangam Kalasa Pujanam Karishye Hamsas Sivasoham Hamsaha Hasakafrem Hasakshamaravaryom Hasam Sahakshamaravaryim Sadavu Swarupa Nirupanaye Surave Annapurneshwari Ambasameda Sri Amrutanandanada Sarasari Mama Sri Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tapayami Namaha Prana Shakti Rajarajeswari Parapakarika Jagita Mahamandaleshwara Sri Saprakashanandanam Saladurdatirtha Paramaguru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tapayami Namaha Sahasrakshim Rajarajeswari Parapakarika Jagita Sri Kalyanandatirtha Parameshti Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tapayami Namaha Sri Dakshinamurti Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Madhya Guru Paramparam Kanchivasaya Vidmahe Shanta Swarupaya Dhimahi Tanno Sri Chandrasekharendra Prachodayati Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah.
I'd like to welcome you all to this workshop, this very unique workshop on Yantra Puja and its benefits. I think all of you are familiar with the Rajarajeswari Peetham and the Sri Vidya Temple in Rochester. So I may not really need to give you much of an explanation or a background about it. But I will just say in brief that it is a unique teaching temple. It is the home of a living tradition of Sri Vidya, where everybody there is initiated into this parampara and is participating in this tradition and keeping the temple going in various roles, whether as pujaris or doing annadhanam, taking care of the ground. So everybody there at the temple is essentially a volunteer, people who are very serious about the Vidya. So if you have not had the occasion to visit, I really encourage that you to come and visit it sometime. From time to time we conduct these educational programs. We have a number of classes going, but truly these workshops are where it all comes together. This is a completely new workshop that we have really not offered before until recently in Rochester on the topic of Yantra Puja, something that is not very well understood. So Aiya is on a mission this year to explain these Yantra Pujas and to make them more popular and more accessible to people. So around you will see a number of different yantras for different deities. And these yantras are what you will find in temples. You don't see them often because they are kept underneath the murtis as part of the sthapana process. And they are the ones which are absorbing the energies from the pujas and the abhishekams and are later making those vibrations available to everybody who comes. So that is about Yantra, and that is going to be the topic of today's workshop, and of course Aiya will talk about it in much more detail. But we conduct these programs from time to time, and these are all always open and free to the public. We of course are most appreciative of any donations that you would like to make towards the temple and towards these different educational programs. To give you a brief overview of today's program, roughly it's going to be broken up into 4 parts. The workshop part of it, we will have about an hour and a half from now until around 11:45 or so. We'll take a short break, then go to lunch. Lunch is around 1:30. Then depending on how we are going, we may have a part 3 until 3 o'clock or so. At 3 p.m. we will take a break and talk about the Rajagopuram project. That is a very ambitious project that we are embarking on, and make some more announcements at that time. And then the most exciting part probably for a lot of you is going to be the Q&A session. So that will be from 3:30 onwards. So the way we will do question and answers here, I'm sure you will have a number of questions as the workshop progresses. We will be passing pieces of paper around, and you will have an opportunity to write down your questions. So rather than interrupt the flow of the workshop with questions, we will do all of the questions at the end. But you can keep writing your questions down as they occur, and we will take them at the end. Again, our request is please keep your questions relevant to the workshop. The workshop is about Yantra Puja. So if you have questions which are not related to Yantra Puja, I'm sure we can answer them at another time. With that, just a little bit about the Yantra Puja program today. So you have a very beautifully decorated yantra here, which is Durga Yantra. So it has been decorated with various and very lovingly decorated with fruits and vegetables, and there are some shankams and various other decorations. So these will be available as Yantra Prasadam at the end of the program. So any of you who are interested, you will be able to take some of this home. Some other housekeeping announcements. Kindly mute your cell phones. Please refrain from any audio video recordings. We will be recording this event and making the recording available later. We have a stall from the bookstore at the back with many of our CDs and books, which you can take a look at. I already talked about the protocol for Q&A, question and answers. We have some seating available up front, so as you can see, the hall's already getting quite full. Those of you who are able to sit on the ground, if you'd like to come up here, there is some space available on both sides. Welcome you to come and sit on the floor. And please do occupy all the chairs so that as people come in, it's easy for them to find seating. And now for the yantra itself. So Aiya needs no introduction. I think all of you know. Aiya, Sri Chaitanyananda, is the founder of Rajarajeswari Devi and Sri Vidya Temple. Like I already mentioned, this year he has been talking about Yantra Puja, but he has been on a mission for his entire life to promote Sri Vidya, to make it more accessible to people like you and me. And he and Amma have dedicated their lives to this purpose. Today we will be starting with Ganapati Puja, and Aiya will actually take it from there and explain the yantra and what we will do afterwards. So with that, I'll hand it over to Aiya.
Hari Om Asya Sri Vachana Mahamantrasya Prithivya Meru Prishta Vishahi Sutalam Chandaha Purvo Devata Asane Viyogaha Prithvitvya Loka Devitvam Vishwanath Panchadari Amam Devi Pavitram Sasanam Guru Yogasanaya Namaha Veerasanaya Namaha Samyogasanaya Namaha आधार शक्ति कमलासनाय नमः रक्तद्वादश शक्तियुक्ताय द्विगणाकाय नमः भूमादेव्यै नमः ओम जगत्वनिमन्त्रमादाहुं स्वाहा आगमात्तन्तु देवानां गमनात्तन्तु रक्षसां कुरुकण्डारवं करोम्यादौ देवतात्मकारणं कण्डानादं कृत्वा दीपदेवी महादेवी सुगंधवदने सदा यावत् पूजा समाप्ति स्यात् तावत् त्वं प्रक्षणसुस्थिरा भव दीपदेव्यै नमः दीपलक्ष्म्यै नमः ओम कलशस्य मुखे विष्णुः कंठे रुद्रसमाश्रिता मूले तत्र स्थिरो ब्रह्मा मध्ये मातृगणा स्मृताः कुक्षौ सागरा सर्वे सप्तद्वीपा वसुन्धरा ऋग्वेद यजुर्वेद सामवेद अद्य अधर्वणं ज्येष्ठदेवा सर्वे कलशां समाश्रिताः आयान्तु महागणपति पूजार्थं दुर्दक्षिणकारका गंगे जयमुने शैलगोदावरी सरस्वती नर्मदा सिंधु कावेरी जले अस्मिन् सन्निधिं कुरु अं इं ईं ॐ ह्रूं ह्रूं लुं लुं ऐं अं ओम ह्रीं ग्रां दत्तात्रेय हरे कृष्ण उन्मत्तानंदकाय दिगंबर मुने बालकजातज्ञानसागरा ग्रां ह्रीं ओम दत्तात्रेयाय नमः पूजा उपकरणानि द्रव्याणि आत्मानं जलं प्रोक्षय सर्वत्रिकंड पुष्पांजलि। गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनाम् उपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदात् शृण्वन्नोतिभिश्रीरसादनम्। ओम श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमाने स्वाहा। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं नमो भगवती महालक्ष्मी वरवरदे श्रीं विद्महे स्वाहा। श्री श्रीपत्यादि सिद्धलक्ष्मी समेत श्री वल्लभ श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। हस्रैं हस्कलरीं हसृतौ महापद्मानां दुष्टे कारणानंद स्वर्ण विग्रहे सर्वभूतैते मातैः परमेश्वर महागणपतिं स्मरामि महागणपतिं सम्पूजयामि नमः। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। इदमिदमासनं सुखासनं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। पादयोः पाद्यं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। अक्षयोर्घ्यं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। मुखे आचमनीयं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। स्नानं समर्पयामि। नमो गणाधिपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रभुपतये नमस्ते लंबोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिकाय शिवसुताय श्रीवरदमूर्तये नमो नमः। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। पुनराचमनीयं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। वह्निक्मं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। यज्ञोपवीत नानाविध आभरणानि समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। दिव्य परिमलगन्धान् धारयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। हरिद्रा कुङ्कुमं समर्पयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। पुष्पैः पूजयामि। ओम सुगुहाय नमः। ओम एकदन्ताय नमः। ओम कपिलाय नमः। ओम गजधर्णिकाय नमः। ओम लंबोदराय नमः। ओम विघ्नाय नमः। ओम विघ्नराजाय नमः। ओम विनायकाय नमः। ओम धूमकेतवे नमः। ओम गणाध्यक्षाय नमः। ओम बालचन्द्राय नमः। ओम गजाननाय नमः। ओम वक्रतुण्डाय नमः। ओम शूर्पकर्णाय नमः। ओम हेरम्बाय नमः। ओम स्कन्दपूर्वजाय नमः। ओम सिद्धिविनायक स्वामिने नमः। नानाविध परिमलमग्रपुष्पाणि समर्पयामि। ओम ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। धूपमाघ्रापयामि। दूरसी दूरदूर्वन्तं दूर्वनं यो अस्मान् दूर्वरितं वदं वदं दूर्वामरूपम् आघ्रापयामि। श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। ओम धूपमाघ्रापयामि समर्पयामि दीपं दर्शयामि। ओम श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा। महागणाधिपतये नमः। श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं श्लूं श्री दवाक्षरी रुद्रेश्वरी विद्या अभिमन्त्रय दीपं दर्शयामि। देवी कीर्तनं प्रतिष्ठति उभयशिवायौ स्वरित्यादित्ये महैति ब्रह्मणे आप्नोति स्वारार्घ्यम् आप्नोति बनस्पतिं वाक्पति चक्षुष्पति विज्ञानपति तत्सतो भवति। आकाशशरीरं ब्रह्मं सत्यं प्रणानामं मनानन्दं शान्तिस्वत्तमं वदं योग्यो वास्तु
एकदीपं दर्शयामि दीपानन्तरमात्मनिं समर्पयामि ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ॐ गणपतये नमः स्वाहा महागणाधिपतये नमः अमृतमहानैवेद्यं काश्मीरवनं प्रबोधयामि विघ्नेश्वरं यदास्थानं प्रविष्टामि श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। हरि ओम। प्रदक्षिण नमस्कारान् समर्पयामि। यानि कानि च पापानि जन्मान्तरकृतानि तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपदे पदे। पापोऽहं पापकर्माणं पापात्मा पापसम्भवः त्राहि मां कृपया देव शरणागतवत्सल। अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम। तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष महेश्वरि। आवाहनं न जानामि विसर्जनं पूजाविधिं न जानामि क्षम्यतां परमेश्वरि। मन्त्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं बुद्धिहीनं सुरेश्वरि। यत्पूजितं मया देवि परिपूर्णं तदस्तु ते। महागणपतये नमः। आत्मप्रदक्षिण नमस्कारान् समर्पयामि। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। You can take the seat, but be ready. You are not done yet, okay? I want to place on record, none of this, any of this, would be possible without the unmatched compassion shown by my esteemed Guruji and his Guru, who took me under their wing in 1979 in Lusaka, Zambia. It is his grace that the development of Sri Vidya and various aspects of it in the Sri Vidya Temple in Rochester have come to this point. Koti pranams to him and to the lineage that has unhesitatingly given the knowledge to anybody who approached them. Saying a little bit of myself to the people who have come here for the first time, I belong to a family where Sri Vidya has been practiced for 6 generations I happen to be the seventh. And the original Sri Yantra that they worshipped is now under Ganapati Vigraham in the suburb of Nugevada, High Level Road, Colombo, placed there by my mother, my father's sister, who built the temple. And the Sri Chakra is still there, and the temple is still running. Now, Sri Vidya, you notice, all the other Vidyas have a name. Sangeeta Vidya, Vaidya Vidya. They have a name before them. But for Devi's Vidya, there is only the word, auspicious word, Sri. Sri Vidya is the end of all Vidyas. If you properly practice it, Shankara, Adi Shankara, says in no uncertain terms that you will have no further births. So Sri Vidya is a great Varaprasadam given to you by Mahatripura Sundari in her boundless compassion for her children. Don't waste your time if you haven't received the mantra. If you do, you will have to come back again until you have finished Purascharanams of the mantras you have received. 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Half of your system should be engaged in worldly affairs. The other half should be involved in continuous mantra japa. If you practice that, nothing in this world is not achievable to you. Now, Sri Vidya, the central deity is Mahatripura Sundari, Bala Tripura Sundari, Panchadasakshari, Shodasi, Mahashodasi, Rajarajeswari, Kamakshi, Abhirami. She is known by unbelievable number of names. Now, when I contemplated starting this series of Yantra Puja workshops, there was an overriding reason for it. All the practitioners, Upasakas belonging to the Rajarajeswari Devi, you have been in high school all this time. Now it's time for you to move on to greater heights so that you can penetrate the 3 granthis that are in the body and reach her. And a sure way of doing that is performing Yantra Puja. So the basis of Sri Vidya Yantra Puja is the Sri Chakram, Chakra Rajam, Mahayantram, so many names are there for it. This is the original Yantra that manifested itself on this planet. Nobody drew it. I don't know whether many of you are aware of this fact. For a long time, scientists and practitioners of this Vidya were at loggerheads, especially those with a mathematical background, because construction of the Sri Vidya, Sri Chakram is so precise. If you don't know, 5 downward pointing triangles. There is a slide of the Sri Yantram, can you project it? 5 downward pointing triangles which correspond to Shakti, Devi, female. 4 triangles pointing upwards corresponding to Shiva, the male aspect of the universe. These are intertwined, and as a result, they form 43 triangles. These 43 triangles, they have what are called 28 sandhis. Sandhi is 2 lines joining together. And 14 marmas. A marma is 3 lines passing through a point. Now, the marmam is more important because if you notice, if one of the lines move by as much as 1% of 1 degree, you will get an additional triangle. So the mathematicians argued that it would be impossible for nature to create this. How could this have? Some fellow somewhere must have drawn this. Until a French scientist came on the scene. He conducted a series of experiments. We will be talking about modern day scientists also, because there is a mistaken notion that Shaivam, Shaktam, Vaishnavam, Ganadipatyam, Kaumaram, Bauddham are all Palangalad Kaddalkai, which means ancient stuff that we don't need to bother about. Think again. This scientist, what he did, he sprinkled iron filings on a ceramic plate that was already infused with the required wiring, and when it was connected to a power supply, an imperceptible vibration started to take place. He set it up in an air-conditioned room, completely sealed so that no wind or anything else would come, and left it intact for 24 hours. When he arrived the next day, this formation was there. You see the triangles? That section with the 43 triangles had formed on its own. Now please, for those people who know, who are practicing Sri Vidya, that's the origin of Sri Chakra. With the valayam, the circle around it, you will notice that the largest triangles touch it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. That is called Bhuvaneshwari Chakram. And this, the Ashtadalam, if you come out of that circle, Ashtadalam, 8-petal lotus, showed as a dalam, 16-petal lotus. The 16-petal lotus I have to strain to look at it myself, don't worry about it. It's okay. The 16-petal lotus and the 3 concentric circles around it, and the chaturam, the bhupuram, the square, were all introduced later. The oldest Sri Chakram in existence is in the Gujarat state, Baroda State Museum. It's drawn on a leaf, Bujra leaf, and you will see only those triangles. And another little anecdote. Professor Kulachev, he was a professor of mathematics in the University of Moscow, visited India, and somebody presented Professor Kulachev a Sri Yantra. He looked at it, never thought twice about it, kept it in his pocket, went back to Moscow, and he had a number of PhD students under him. He gave them a project. Draw this primitive yantra on the computer. The students tried for 6 months, for 1 year, for 1.5 years. Nobody could do it. Then he said, how difficult could this be? This is from a third world country. Some primitive guy must have drawn this some thousands of years ago with modern day science and mathematical equations and all computations. How can this not be possible? So he said, give it to me, I'll try. It took him 2.5 years to perfect it and to draw the Sri Yantra. Then he called the gentleman who had given it to him and he said, "What a fantastic thing you gave me. Where did you get this?" And he told him all about it. So the Sri Chakra is the basis for our worship in Sri Vidya. Now there are Upanishads. Vedas are there, then Upanishads are there. Upanishad means taking you in close proximity to what? The truth. It will take you in close proximity to the truth. And what is the truth? Mahatripura Sundari is the truth. Nothing exists beyond her. She exists far beyond the capabilities of the mind, your intelligence, everything. And there are two main Upanishads that we follow. One is called Tripurata Upanishad, Bhavana Upanishad, and another one is there, Tripura Upanishad. Bhavana Upanishad means the Upanishad of meditation, Bhavana. Now this Bhavana Upanishad very clearly tells you, first line, Navarandara Deham Sri Chakram Sri Guru Sarva Karana Bhuta Shakti. Navarandara Deham Sri Chakram Sri Guru Sarva Karana Bhuta Shakti. This body with its 9 openings is the Sri Chakra. That means this is only a representation. And what does the Bhavana Upanishad teach you? You must begin to identify parts of your body, internal, external organs, panchayendriyas, karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, everything with the Sri Chakra. If that identification dawns in you, now, yogi, the people who teach yoga, excuse me, so the result of the bhajan last night. They'll tell you there are various stages of samadhi. The easiest to get into, once you have identified yourself completely with the Sri Yantram, the state that you will enter is the state that you were when you came out of your mother's body. That is called Sahaja Samadhi. That means no condition, no colorations, no computations in your mind. When you look at it, you think of something. No thought process at all. You are in the pristine state of Mahatripura Sundari. So, that childlike quality, as you are born, that innocence, you will enter into. And there have been people who ask me, if you are that innocent, you can get easily cheated. True? Of course. Except if you keep the Tripura Sundari or a mantra or the stotras in your mind. And in the Lalita Sahasranama, there is a line that goes, Kali Kalnashanasini. Kali Kalnashana, all the impurities of this Kalikala, Kali Yugam, she will take care of for you. Just like when a newborn baby is there, that child is completely, totally dependent on the mother. And this mother is the same, except she has a few billion children other than you. You are not her only child. Okay. Now this Sri Chakra has important aspects. And while I was contemplating introducing this complex subject to people, somehow I had to marry the Sri Yantra with this. Otherwise, you will move away from the Vidya. The Sri Chakram has a Chaturasram, the first square. There are 28 deities in the first square. And for people who have received Mahashodasi, worship of the Sri Yantram in their mind becomes very easy. If you have received Shodasi, you know the mantra has 28 syllables. The first 3 lines, the deities are positioned in such a way, there are 28 deities, and each syllable of the mantra can be placed in each point. The second iteration is the 16-petal lotus, and you use the Panchasakshari that is embedded in the Mahashodasi. The 3, each of the kutams of Panchasakshari is to be treated as 1 syllable. Then you will get the Shodasi completely satisfying itself on the 16-petal lotus. On the 8-petal lotus, you go 2 syllables per petal. And again, use the 3 kutams of the Panchasakshari Mahamantra as 3 syllables. Then 8-petal lotus is complete. 14 triangles. Chatur Dasa Bhuvanaram. Chatur, 4. Dasa, 10. Bhuvanaram, 14 worlds. 7 above your navel, 7 below the navel. Bhuhu above the navel. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. Below the navel. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Prasadala, Taladala, Padala, Athala Padala. 7. Below the navel, 7 of them. Above the navel, 7 of them. So there are 14 triangles. Chatur, Dasa, Bhuvana. So 2 syllables to each triangle, 28. The next one is called Bahir Dasaram, the 10 outward triangles. And there's another set inside, Antar Dasaram, inside. Then Ashtakonam. You take all 3 of them together. So 1 syllable each, 28 will complete. Then the last triangle, 9 per corner. And the 10th one, the 28th one is in the center. If you practice this, only for people who have received Shodasi, it means you are doing Sri Chakra Puja in your mind. How long will it take? 3 minutes. So how many can you do for a day? Whenever you have time, sit and do it. Visualize the thing and do it. Within 6 months, the moment you close your eyes, you will see the Sri Chakra being drawn in light in there. That is your signal to say that you are achieving something, which is taking you somewhere. Okay. So, the concept of this yantra and all the yantras that you see on the board. Bala Tirupur Sundari, Subramanya, Ganapati, and on that wall Varahi, the first one from right, all the way down to the left, Varahi, Tiraskarani, Sulini, Sarveshwara and Pratyanga. And on this side, Shyamala and Ashwaruna. And in the back, Vanadurga. All of them, before you enter to do the Yantra Puja, if you worship the deities that are in the Purva, east, Dwaram entrance, Purva Dwaram, Dakshina Dwaram, Paschima Dwaram, Uttara Dwaram, eastern entrance, southern entrance, western entrance, northern entrance. In the Sri Yantram, and therefore, in all the yantras that have chaturashram, all the yantras that have a square, these deities are protecting in front. The eastern entrance, Purva Dwara Devatas, are based on the Rig Vedam. You will see in the decoration here, they have used 4 conches filled with honey. It's not by accident. What the Vedas contain are the nectar of truth. So they have honey in them. They represent the 4 Vedas. Now, in the eastern entrance, Rig Veda is prevalent. Here. This is east, right? So, before the practitioners start to perform Yantra Puja, I have planned 51 of them. So far, with the help of 2 or 3 very dedicated devotees, we have completed 31 Yantras, 20 more are to be done. And the complete Puja Vidanams have been written. And I hope that we will publish them in 4 languages so that it will be a complete, a unique achievement of this Pita. In the eastern entrance, Rigvedam is there. How long does it take you to chant one sloka from Rigvedam? Agginimile Purovidam Yakjas Sarukvidam Hota Aram Ratnatatamam Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om. Done. Offer the flowers. If you want to be a little more elaborate and please the other deities that are in the eastern entrance, Pratyangara Devi is standing in guard. She won't let anybody who has ill will towards another of her creation, she will not let them inside the yantram. This is why in the Shiva Puranam, Sri Manikavasaka says, Nenjil Vanjam Kada. You should not have any ill will towards anybody. And Manikavasaka was a Upasaka. If you look at his writings, if you read the writing, you will know that he has been practicing Sri Vidya because there are far too many coincidences in the 656 songs that he has written. So, Eastern is Pratyangara Devi. It takes you 20 seconds to chant a mantra. Om Hrim Ksham Pakshadjwala Jigve Karaladam Shtre Pratyangare Ksham Hrim Mum Pat. That's the first yantra on the left, Pratyangara Devi. Then, in the southern entrance, Surini Durga is there. That is the third yantra there. Srim Harim Klim Dum Jwala Jwala Surini Durga Graha Humpat Swaha. So second entrance is worship. Third one is the western entrance. There are 2 deities protecting it. One is Sudarshanam. The other one is Narasimha Sudarshanam. Narasimha Sudarshanam and Sudarshanam. Sudarshanam is 2 syllables. Sahasrara Umpat. That's it. Of course, there are other varieties of the same mantra with about 125 syllables. You don't have to do that. Sahasrara Umpat. And Narasimha. Om Narasimhaya Namaha. You don't want to invoke the lion. You don't want to wake him up. The Uttara Dwaram, there is Adarvana Veda, and the deity there is Sarveshwara, which is the second one that you see. Sarveshwaram is one of the accepted 25 forms of Shiva. Sarvamurti is one of them. Sarveshwara, Nataraja, Ardhanareshwara, Vikshadana, Dakshinamurti, Nataraja, so many of them are there. In that, Sarveshwara is one of the recognized forms. Om Kem Kam Kampat Pranagrahasi Gumpat Sarva Satru Samharanaya Sarva Sadhavaya Vakshirajaya Gumpat Swaha. Done. Now you are ready to enter the yantra inside. Now the decoration, we will be slowly. This is the enthusiasm of some of my children. Look at the way they are decorated. There is a name for this. This is called Sakambari Alankaram. Sakambari Alankaram. Of course, in Sakambari Alankaram, you won't have Smarties and Hershey's Kisses. There are rules and regulations of how you should decorate it. But it is the enthusiasm of my children. I have to let them grow. They have to grow slowly, and eventually I will tell them that you cannot use certain materials. But for now, this is great. The other thing is, they have used pineapple in the decoration. Pineapple is a no-no. You cannot use it as naivedyam, you cannot use it as decoration. Pineapple is not allowed. The other one is papaya. You cannot use these two. Okay? That will come later. Now, in this yantra, Durga, we chose this one because the resident deity here, the Sthana Devata, is Durga in this temple. This Sakambari Alankaram can be done to a deity also, like the statue of Rajarajeswari, you can decorate it with vegetables and fruits. That's called Sakambari Alankaram. What is this yantra? When Ramakrishna was alive, he said, Ami yantra, tumi yantri. I am the yantra. You are the life force in the yantra. Now, connect this with Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim, Rasi Rubanim, Naumim, Devim, Mantramayim, Matruka, Pida Rubanim. Almost the whole universe is covered here. Ganesha, Ganapati, 51 varieties of Ganapati are there, different varieties of Ganapati. Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyoma Vadhyapta Dehaya Sri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Remember that slokam? Murti Veda Vibhagine. There it was meant for Dakshinamurtis 9 different forms. But here, applied to the Devi, the multitude of Devis, multitude of deities, any faith, doesn't include only ours, any faith, any deity, anywhere being worshipped. Even the Shivalingam shaped rock that has been worshipped for 55,000 years in the central plains of Australia. If you fly there, you will see it. Suddenly out of the blue, as the plane is landing, a bright orange colored mountain, the shape of a Shivalingam, is out from the ground. And the natives in Australia, the Aborigines have been worshipping for 55,000 years. And when you go there, you can feel it. So Ganesha, 51 varieties of Ganapati, Graha, 9 planets, Nakshatra, 27 constellations, Ganesha, Graha, Nakshatra, Yoginim. How many Yoginis are there? Go back to Lalita Sahasranamam, you will have Maha Sadushashti Koti Yogini Ganasevita. 64 crore deities are there. And not only yoginis, their partners are also there. Maha Sadushashti Koti Yogini Gana Sevita. The Ganas and yoginis are together. And you have to worship all of them. All of them are inside this yantra. Okay? So if you worship the Sri Chakra, you would understand with any little intelligence that you are worshipping the whole universe. You are not just worshipping a yantra or the Devi or that beautiful statue that is decorated with all this stuff. Right? So Mahasati Shakti Koti Yogini Ganasevita. Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yogini Rasi Rupini. 12 Rasis. She is the one. She is the life force. Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yogini Rasi Rupini Naumi Mantra Mayim. How many mantras are there in Sanatana Dharma? 700 million. Sapta Koti Mantra. Any sound. You walk into a forest and you hear a peacock going clean, clean. You will hear the Bijakshara of the Devi there. Any sound in nature can be brought down to that. Now, the trick is, you have to find out which is the mantra that will create and reprogram the chromosomes and the nucleus in every cell in your body. Who knows that? If you know that, everybody will be a Jivan Mukta. Only somebody who has traversed the path and achieved a certain amount of union with the Devi will know. The moment you see the person, you will know this is the one that is fit, that is suitable for this one. Give it. Now it is your responsibility, if you receive it, to practice it. If you don't, the person who gave the thing to you will get affected. The rishis first heard the mantras in them. In their spiritual audience, in their silence, after they have muted all the sense organs, the surge of the sense organs. It's the important thing to remember. The sense organs, there will be a surge of power. And the surge of power will be felt on the 72,000 nerve endings on your body. And if you cannot control that surge, you cannot get anywhere near her. This is why in the Siva Prana it says, Vaham kadithu anda vendan adivalka. Vaham kadithu. Surge, muted surge. And you will know, whenever we do puja, there is always this sound, Aim Hrim Srim being chanted. That is called Tritari. And the effect of that mantra, the Tritari mantra, is to mute the surge, is to reduce the reaction time in your body to any external stimuli that comes towards the body, whether it is through the eyes, ears, nose, throat, and taste and touch. If you can mute it, then you have come somewhere. And first instance of muting it happens for the rishis. When they have muted the thing, they hear the mantra inside. And the secret is, as the Chit Shakti, which is also variously named by scholars as the serpent power, as the Kula Kundalini, as Kundalini, right? All of those things. Once it has begun its ascent from the Mooladhara, and if it has reached the Visuddhi Chakra, which is located around your neck, between the two clavicles, where the collarbones come to meet, from there, it's around. Once it has reached there and it starts to move up, all the sounds, visions, all of them will cease. You will be in inscrutable darkness. In the Sahasranama, there is a reference to it. Taharagasa-rupini. Taharagasa is between Visuddhi Chakram and Ajna Chakram. And there, if you have had visions, if you hear divine music being played, if you hear mantras being chanted, all of them will be cut. And for about 2 years, 3 years, depending on how you intend your sadhana, you won't hear anything. And that person's guru will have a barrage of telephone calls. Aiya, I used to have all these visions, now nothing. I don't feel like doing puja. Even last night somebody told me, I don't feel like doing puja, I don't feel like sitting, I don't feel like doing anything. What do I do? Stay with it. Stay on course. If you are still seeing visions and still having experiences, the deities coming and talking to you, and people come and tell me, Ganapati told me this, Krishna told me this, very good, but you are still below the Visuddhi Chakra. You get it? Once that comes, it will stop. And you won't externalize it. You will not tell people about it unless there is an absolute necessity for it. You will not experience or brag about it. If you brag about it, you will still be there. That means Grana Shanka Bhaya Rajya Jugupsa Kula Jali Selam is very much alive and kicking. Okay. Now, when the rishis heard the mantra, Manasit Trayade idi mantra. Manasit Trayade. Man is a mind, Tra to protect. That which protects your mind is the mantra. So it can be that peacock going clean. If that keeps working in you 24/7, that's a Vijakshara. Okay, Manasit Trayade. That mantra has to be protected in the mind. What does that mean? It is being wrongly interpreted these days, especially by practitioners who run temples and who do pujas. They will not chant anything out for you to hear. If you ask them, they will say mantras cannot be chanted outside. Wrong. Mantras have to be chanted out, otherwise how will the devotees who come to the temple ever have a starting point? How will their journey ever be kick-started? Wrong attitude. And besides, if you keep the mantras to yourself and not share it with anybody, you're going to take it with you? What a waste. Thank God, Guruji and Parama Guruji and Parameshti Guruji, none of them taught like this. If they had taught, this won't be here today. So first, Manasitra Yade, the mantra, protect the mantra in your mind. That means chant it in your mind. If you keep chanting it in your mind, mantra Manasitra Yade. The mantra will turn around and protect your mind. You won't get involved in anything. There are people who come to me and tell me, Aiya, I'm very interested in Nadaswaram music. Without doing puja, I want to hear it. I want to keep hearing it. Very good. That means you are involved in Natha Upasana without your knowledge. The sound of that Rajavadyam is enough to vibrate the Ida, Pingala and Sushumna nadis in your body, especially if it is properly played. If there's Apaswaram, then God help you and the fellow who is playing. If you hear it, that alone is enough. It will reverberate with the system that is inside of you. The spinal nervous system will slowly become attuned to what you are hearing, and the cells along the spinal cord and the branch nerves, the brachials, the femorals and all the rest of it, and the nerve endings will be transformed. So system after system after system will be transformed. What is this transformation called? Navavarana Puja. There's not only one way of doing Navavarana Puja, to create the Vishesharyam and then Samanyargyam, Visargyam, and do Tarpanam, Tarpayami, while your mind is far away. Tomorrow, how will I present this to the office? Tarpayami is useless. But that is a method that has been taught so that it will slowly bring your sense organs to mute position. And at one point, you can hit the mute button and your senses will be completely muted. You won't feel anything. What is the first indication that you are gaining ground? What is the first indication? Anything you hear, you will remember. Anything you see, you will remember. Your memory will become so sharp, right? Sometimes it will become an impediment. And you must know how to strike a balance between what your mind is telling you and what you're seeing, what you're hearing. See, this is not something that you can just let you go. And all the time you must remember that the mother is looking at you and she is directing you. She is not a stone that is seated there. If you embark on a journey, she will show you. 1 foot at a time, she will keep showing you. And if you are doing something, she will suddenly show somebody who has a passion for teaching. As the students of our famous GRD, people know, out of the blue he appeared. You think that was an accident? No. The mother knows when to give you, right? It's only a mother who knows how much milk the little baby needs. The child doesn't ask, Amma, I'm hungry, can you give me 10 ounces of milk? No. Now the mother knows how much to give. If the child is 9 years old and if the mother is still giving 10 ounces of milk, then there's something wrong with the mother. Okay. So only she knows. Mother knows, and mother is not. Look at this. I just spoke about him and he appears here. Namaskaram. Anyway, I was just telling them that GRD Aiya's Gurukul appearing on the scene was no mistake. That the Tripura Sundari planned it in such a way that the time had come for these children to learn something more. Now, in the Yantra Puja, once the rishis saw the mantra, they heard it in them. They persevered in the meditation of that mantra, the mantra resonating in the Taharakasam, in the dark space that is inside. And once the Chit Shakti has moved through the Taharakasam, that means from the Visuddhi Chakram to the Ajna Chakram, passing through the Lambika in the middle. When she is in the Lambika, that's the learning curve. That's the time to do pujas to Shyamala, to enhance and polish up it, sharpen the absorption into your system. And once she enters the Ajna Chakram, for all practical purposes, you become a vegetable. That means your ego will be muted to a point where you will be completely dependent on the Tripura Sundari and her, that trinity to take you up. Once you pass Ajna Chakram, there are 9 more centers between the eyebrow center and the Sahasra Kamalam, and it's controlled by Varahi. That's the time to do Varahi Dharma. Varahi Homam, Varahi Japam, Varahi Puja, all of those. And these 9 centers that are there, when the Sri Chakram, that is the body, impels the Kundalini to move up, as she passes through the Mooladhara Kshetram, Prithvi Tattvam, solid state, and fears about the continuation of your race, of your lineage and all that will be gone. It will be absorbed. In the Swadhisthana, Apastattvam, liquid state. And Apastattvam is absorbed. So out of the 5, 2 are gone. Once she comes to the navel, Manipura Chakram. What is the deity in the Manipura Chakram? Manipura Mandapa Madhye Dasadara Patastidaya Agni Varnaya Chandika Parameshwariye Namaha. So this Devi Mahatmyam that you are doing will push you through that. And you should be seeing if the Mahatmyam is being chanted properly. If you close your eyes and you start to do japam, you will feel yourself in inscrutable, total black space. And a tiny point of light will appear in between your eyebrows. Your eyes are still closed. It will start to move towards you at terrific and terrifying speed. As it comes towards you, it will blow up into millions of little dots of light. And these are coming and passing away. They are passing beyond you at terrific speed. When you are meditating on the Prathama Charitram and Uttama Charitram, if you focus on one of those dots, you will see a tiny little Devi sitting inside. Every one of them, every dot you will have the manifestation of Chandi in this way. So Agni Tattvam is absorbed there. Then it moves up and comes to the Anahata Chakram. Anahata Chakram sometimes can be a troublesome experience. Why troublesome? Anything that you see, you will tear. You will tear up. That is the repository of universal and unconditional love. Anything. You see a cat carrying its little kitten, you will cry. You see a cow and a calf, you will cry. You will see a mother and a child, you will cry. It can become a little disturbing and unconcerning. There, Vayu Tattvam is absorbed. So, Prithvi, Apaha, Tejas, Vayu gone. With the Visuddhi Chakram, once it appears there, Akasha Tattvam is absorbed. And what is the result? Nature will open its books to you. So if you see a crow flying across the sky, if you see a crane, or you see a turtle, or a cat crossing the road, or a Uttai Brahmanan, a single Brahmin walking towards you, each of them will have a meaning. Only then the omens make a difference, not for any others. You have to bring the Chit Shakti all the way up to the Visuddhi Chakra, only then you will see what is going on. Then nature will open itself to you. After that, darkness. And who is the person who is going to take you through that darkness? Your Guru. But for your part, you should persevere in doing what you are doing. Now, so the rishis saw the mantras and they experienced the mantras as sound, as Nada Brahma, and every sound that was created by any life form in the universe will become meaningful. And for the rishis, of course, unlike people like us, for them, concentration after muting of the 5 sense organs is second nature. They will see the Bindusthanam appearing 12 inches above the head. In the Dvadasantam, they will see the light. And then slowly, that light will begin to descend. And as it enters your body, whatever deity that you are focusing on, I repeat, whatever deity that you are focusing on, that yantra will manifest in the form of a Mahameru. And if you still persist, because of the compassion of these rishis to share this with the rest of humanity, they will bring the light down all the way to their Anahata Chakra. When it comes there, the yantra will be around them, down on the wherever they are sitting, and they make a note of it. And they know what deities are there in which dalam, in Shodasa dalam, Ashtadalam, right? And when it comes to that point, that yantra is given to the people. Now, the Bindusthanam always, where the lamp is here, always contains the essence of the deity that owns the yantra. So if it is Durga Parameshwari is manifested there. And how does she appear? Patini Putra Parivara. Now in this case, Padi. Putra Parivara Ayuda Vahana Dhanya Mandal Samedam. So it should tell you. Putra Parivaram. Children, retinue, Ayudam, weapons, Dhanyam, what? There must be a specific pulse for each deity. Patini Putra Parivara Ayuda Vahana vehicle Dhanya Mandala Samedam. They will be standing on a mandalam. So now, the Rishi has succeeded in bringing the Bindusthanam, that is the actual deity, to unite with the Bindu of the physical chakram on which he is now seated. Okay? The technique of uniting the Bindu with the mantram is called Tantra. That is why mantra, yantra and tantra are there. Manasitrayade is mantra, mantraha manasitrayade. Right? After the mind has been muted, that means the chitta vritti nirodha, Patanjali, chitta vritti, production of the mind has been muted. And who can hit the mute button? Others. The Guru can, the deity can, Devi can. If she thinks, poor fellow has been struggling for some time, let's give him something. Right? So, once the yantra has been manifested and given over to the people, now that yantra device, yantiram, a machine, can be used to reverse the process and unite with the Devi. Okay? And that is where the yantra puja is coming. You must know what deities are involved, in which dalam or which avaranam. The Sri Chakram Tambi. In the Sri Yantram, there are many sampradayams. There is Vamacharam on the extreme left side. Then there is Kaulacharam. Then on the right-handed path there is Samayacharam. And on the extreme right-handed path there is Dakshinacharam. And however much anybody from any part of the world claims that he is doing only this type of worship, it cannot be true. Because all the methods and all the sampradayams that I have studied up to this time, they borrow from each other. Sometimes 50% is borrowed, sometimes 60% is borrowed. So there is one path in the middle. This is called Misracharam. That's what is being practiced everywhere. The moment you offer the flowers and you do this is the mudra. So it becomes tantric. You offer water. If it is Vedic worship, only Agni, nothing beyond. The moment you introduce a flower, a stotra, or you chant Lalita Sahasranam, it doesn't become Vedic anymore. because Sahasranam is not from the Vedas. Okay. Now, the Yantra pujas can be done in our sampradayam only by people who have received Panchasakshari and who are practicing it. And in our sampradayam, Panchasakshari is Kali Vidya and the Rishi is Mannada. Right? And even in this sampradayam, if you look at the Sri Yantra, Chaturasram, 28 deities, you see three circles, concentric circles. The Trivalayam, there's puja only in the Dakshinamurti Madam. There is puja there. But in our sampradayam, that puja is not there. So, with any of these yantras, if you see, other traditions also have produced yantras. For people who are from Sri Lanka, you will be familiar with Ruwanvelisaya, Isurumunya. Ruwanvelisaya is a Mahameru. Only thing is it's about 200 feet tall. These are the 4 entrances to the yantra. So it has a chaturasram. And here is the Valayam, this dome-like structure that you see. If you look at it from top, it will have this structure. One entrance there, another entrance there, another entrance there, another entrance there. If you are not familiar, if you are Indian, think of the Dagava in Sanchi. Exquisite. The carvings and all that are exquisite, but it's a yantra. That yantra has been projected upwards. And that square that you see on top of the, before the finial is there, that's called Vahal Kade in Sinhalese. Okay? And the 4 entrances are called Devadas Kotua. When I was an architecture student, I had the benefit of being lent to the archaeological department for a summer vacation. And we were in some town where they were constructing or renovating an old town. I had the chance to get down. You know where that square is on top? I had the opportunity to climb down into that. They won't let anybody down. They won't let anybody there. Yeah, there. And inside it, on the inside, there are frescoes and paintings and carvings which a human being will never see. And in the center of it, they will place a relic of the Buddha and close it. So these are all of these. Remember the ones, I think in Assam or Bhutan, the one with the ice, remember? That also is the yantra. Okay. And the worship that the priests conduct, now I recollect. At that time I did not know. The prayers that they chant are for the 4 entrances and how you have to enter the thing and go up. Okay. So in the yantra puja that we are going to do, minimum requirement is Panchasakshari. Now when we are going to do the pujas in Rochester, The pujas will be done to the main yantra by an upasaka who is practicing Sri Puja. Which means you have to know, that person will have to know how to produce, how to generate the special argyam, the amritam, the nectar that is to be offered to the Devi. Before you can do that, Tambi, can you carry the Vardhani Patram and show people? This one. The big Patram that you see here is the Vardhani Kalasam. For the Vardhani Kalasam, show. Give the yantra, give the yantra. For the Vardhani Kalasam, this arrangement has to be drawn. Vrittam, Chaturasram, Vrittam, Trikona. No bindu. Okay? You will also notice that for most of the yantra pujas, the Bali Mandapam is like this. Bali Mandalam is like this. The Vardhani Kalasam is the one into which you are inviting the 4 Vedas, right? And all the other. In our Sampradayam, we also perform a meaning. What? Prana Pradishta for it. Because you say, Kalasasya Mukhe Vishnu, face is Vishnu, Kante Rudra, neck is Rudra, Mule Tattasthido Brahma, base is Brahma, Madhye Matragana, in the middle, all the 51 aksharas of the Sanskrit alphabet are there. Ukshaudu Sagara, into this I invite the essence, divine essence of all the 7 oceans. Saptatviga, 7 continents. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Adhya, Dharma, Lingeswara, they are limbs of this. So already the Vedas are in there. Okay? Survey is such a constituted kalasam. You have to state the purpose. Ayantu, Devi Pujartam, Hanumat Pujartam, Sri Rama Pujartam, Pratyangila Pujartam, Sarveshwara Pujartam. Enter the name that you have given, whatever that name that you are going to use. Then the mini Prana Pradishta is the chanting of the Visuddhi of the vowels. Am, im, om, ram, ram, lam, lam, aim, aim, om, aum, am. Then you have to worship the Pratama Guru in our lineage is Dattatreya. Dattatreya Hare Krishna, Unmattananda Dayaka, Digambara Mune, Balapadada Jnana Sakara, Dram Hrim Om, or Om Hrim Dram, Dram Hrim Om, or Dram Dream Klim Bloom Saha, Dattatreyam Digambaram Sandhyarunam Tarpayani, Aruna Dattatreya Namah. Any one of these 3 you can. Now once the Vardhani Kalasam is performed, the Mukona Mutra is putting nicely, is placing it nicely on that. You sprinkle whatever that is there, Puja Upakaranani, Diragyani, Atmanam on yourself, Prokshaya. So purification has occurred now. After that, from the Vardhani Kalasam, you generate the Samanya Argyam. And the Samanya Argyam Mandalam, Samanya Argyam Mandalam, if you are seated facing the yantra, is to be on your left side. And the Samanya Argya Patram is a punch. Preferably a right-handed one. And you give me the Samanya Argya Mandalam. This one is the Samanya Argya Mandalam. No bindu. Idi Trikonaka, Idi Shakkonaka, Idi Vrittaha, Idi Chaturapakam Mandalam Vilikya. So draw a triangle, then draw a 6-sided figure, then vrittam, a circle, and the chaturam, square. And this must be drawn with the amritam from the Vardhani Kalasam, and it should be on your left hand side. Until the end of the puja, in the case of Mahatripura Sundari, and therefore all the other yantras, it should not move until the end of the puja. And how will you draw the yantra? With your ring finger. Don't use this one. You can't do this. With the ring finger. You see, Swarnam you should be there on the hand. Right? That's why in Tamil they say even if you get knocked, you should get knocked with the ring finger. Because that Swarnam has a very special quality. Okay? So, Visasharkyam, the Samanyaryam is going to be, and you can do Agni Mandalam, Surya Mandalam, Soma Mandalam, elaborations. Guruji, in his infinite grace, has shortened this fairly elaborate process, and I have followed the same template for all the Yantra pujas. And Visesharikam, Samanyarikam, Visesharikam can be done within 5 minutes. Okay? So that you don't get bored. Now, if there are people who are coming for the Yantra Puja, smaller yantras will be made for them. First stage is to introduce them to the yantras, so those yantras will be laminated sheets of paper. As the interest in the Yantra Pujas keep going, we have plans to bring copper yantras, specially manufactured for the temple, and they will be etched, properly made, and they will be brought, and the yantras will be done, the Yantra Pujas will be done by people who are interested, who have become initiated, and the burden will be shifted to them. That means the yantras will be given to them. After that they have to do puja every day. They are not toys. They are not objects that you take and keep in your house for show. If you take a yantra, you have to know that it is serious business from that point. At least a basic puja should be done. Then I won't tell you shortcuts because I know my students, if I tell them a shortcut, that's all they'll do. They'll never do the actual. Which you see, you will miss the beauty of the pujas that are there. First learn them. Learn the elaborate puja ritual. But here, for people who are interested in I have tried the tarpanam with the laminated thing. The mantric value and the vibrations will stay for 12 hours. After that they are dissipated. So it will stay there. For them, kumkumam or akshadas or flowers will be given so that they will be able to do the puja. Now, from the Shankam, Shankam Chandrarka Daivatyam Bhuksham Varna Samyudam Mule Prajapatim Dakra Ganga Saraswari Pavana Raja Yavitmahe Panjajanyaya Dhimahi Tanna Shankar Prachodayad. This is enough. Even for the Shankam there is Agni Mandalam, Surya Mandalam, Soma Mandalam. Now in Guruji, Puja Vidi, these things are there, but only the essential forms he has given. Which means the upasakas who are demonstrating the puja for the benefit of the people who have come. Incidentally, June 2nd is going to be the first Yantra Puja in the Rajarajeswari Devi. We are going to start appropriately with Ganapati. And please remember, each tarpanam is to be preceded by the Moola Mantra. If you can imagine Shyamala or Bhagavalini, 157 deities are there. So, Rajamadangi Aim Hrim Sri Vaim Klim Savu Om Namo Bhagavati Sri Madangeshwari Sarvajana Manohari Sarvam Karajani Klim Hrim Sri Sarvarajava Sarvastri Purushava Shankari Sarvadushtamurkava Shankari Sarvasattva Shankari Sarvalokava Shankari Sri Rajarajeswari Devi Swal Savu Klim Aim Sri Mrim Ahim. What is the Sri Padakam Puja Amitarpayamina? One Tarpanam. You have to do this 157 times. And when you do it 157 times, if the Devi doesn't manifest, something is wrong. She has to come. She has no choice. And there are deities with 200 odd deities in the Yantra. And before all this, Guru Mandalam has to be worshipped. And the Guru Mandalam has to be worshipped. There are Divya Yoga, Mana Yoga, Siddha Yoga. All of those are there. It is not an easy subject, please. And unless you are very serious about your sadhana, it should not become, I repeat, it should not become a burden on you. So just because the yantras are being given in the temple, don't rush and take them and regret it later on. Right? Bhagamalini is also, the Mula Mantra is this long. And you have to have real patience. You can't rush through them. And the yantras won't be this big. There will be small copper yantras, 4-inch square. Is it time for a break?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Have you been puja'd out or yantra'd out? Now, the mantra, yantra, and tantra, mahamantra, mahayantra, mahatantra, mahasana. That tantra, what is this tantra? Aiya anusandhanam. Aiya anusandhanam. That means, make no mistake, you must become the Devi. You must unite with her. She must become you, you must become her. There are signs that only you will know. And don't please publicize it. If you experience something like this, the Meru is in front of you, you are worshipping it, you are doing the Tarpanam. Just to show you, she will switch the consciousness. You will find the shell of you sitting in front, and you are sitting on the bindu of the Meru, and that shell is doing puja to you. That's the first step. When that switching starts to occur, some people get frightened out of their wits. They think they're going crazy, not knowing that they were crazy to get into this in the first place. You have to be half mad to get into this. Right? So, when you do the Tarpanam, make sure if something like that happens, don't get frightened. What is the first thing you will do if a switching occurs and you get into a complete shock? Immediately Murti Mudra and chant your Guru Prabhupada. Hamsa Siva Soham Hamsaha Hasakafredi. Even the full thing you don't need to do. That's why they are so compassionate. Hamsa Siva Soham Hamsaha. Enough. Immediately you will calm down. And the secret is to continue the puja. If you get shocked, it will take an average of 6 to 7 months for you to get back to that state again. So, any shortcoming, any shock like this, and you're frightened, she will let you be before she starts to move the thing again. So, Samanya Yajna is now done. Again, Puja Upaharanani Dravyani Atmanam Prokshaya. You get. Now that Shankam should not move from that place until the puja is done. What happens if you move the Shankam by accident? What happens? Start the whole process all over again. No compromise in this. Once you move it, it's done. You are done with Vasanam, so you can't. That energy which is now tied to the mandalam beneath it and the patram, the, what do you call that? Samanyatya patram, adharam. That sequence will be broken. So you have to do it again. Right? And when you do Visarshadhyam, please remember, if you are serious and you are doing Navavarana Puja, put a drop of milk into it and a drop of honey. You will find that the mantras are much, the mantras make a deep impact in you. Right? Remember, each of these mantras is directly reprogramming the chromosomes, 23 chromosomes that are in your cells, in all the organs. There are trillions and trillions of cells. It will take some time for the reprogramming to be complete. If you leave it halfway, programming is not complete. Now you have to, if you let it go, you have to start all over again from scratch. So once you get in, do it all the time. Now, many types of yantras are there. Many people ask me, if I have a meru, should it have a yantra pratishtha underneath it? What do you think? The meru itself is a yantra. If you happen to have a Bhu Prasthanam or a Kailasa Prasthanam, I will come to this, Bhu Prasthanam or a Kailasa Prasthanam along with the meru, then the Bhu Prasthanam or Kailasa Prasthanam have to be placed underneath as yantra pratishtha for this meru. If you only have a Bhu Prasthanam, keep doing the puja to the Bhu Prasthanam. It is the same. One is three-dimensional, the other one is two-dimensional. That's it. What is Bhu Prasthanam? Where the petals and the lines and the triangles are embossed. If they are plowed into the thing, if somebody has drawn it, then it is called a Kailasa Prasthanam. If the projection is 50% of the square, see, of each side of the square, then it is Ardhameru. If it is 25% of the projection of the side, then it's called Parsomeru. Example, I don't know about other temples in other states. I'm telling you what I saw in Tamil Nadu. In the Kaligamba temple, in the heart of Chennai, there is a Sinameru, which means it is made out of granite. And Adi Shankara did the pratishtha for this meru. They keep it covered. If they know that you are a serious Upasaka of Sri Vidya, or if you tell them they are coming from Rajarajeswari Devi, they will remove the kavacham and show you. In that temple only. In the other temple at Mangadi, Kamakshi temple, there is an Ardhameru. Right? And in Devapuram, what is that? What is the meru in Devapuram? So Ardhameru, 50%. What you see in front of the lamp in the center here is a Purana meru. This one is Kamakshi, Kanchipuram Sampradaya. Apane. Time up. Okay, we have a 10-minute break. You can stretch your legs. I can have a cup of tea. One second. Sriti has something to tell you.
No, all I wanted to say was if you can all come around this way, around the yantra, and then go that way, get your tea in the corner, and then you can come back to your seat.